Your host, Mike Luke. All right, we're going to talk a lot of Arizona basketball today because, again, we have got maybe the biggest matchup of the season coming up, Indiana in Las Vegas. Let's get started here on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now, Arizona, Indiana is here. A battle of two top 10 teams. And again, show's brought to you by BetOnline, BetOnline Sportsbook. All right, so Arizona, Indiana. Now, anybody that knows me or has followed me knows that I'm generally fairly skeptical of Big Ten teams, especially when, how do I put this? They hit the NCAA tournament, because year in and year out, we hear the exact same cry. We hear, well, Arizona, or, the Big Ten, it's clearly the best conference in all of college sports, this, that, and the other. And every year, it just happens year in and year out. And you know what? I'm sick of it. But during the regular season, they are pretty good. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been Doug Gottlieb or Aaron Torres or somebody smarter than me that said, a reason for their struggles in the Big Ten is that a lot of times these teams return a lot of players. And at the beginning of the season, they're very, very good. And then by the end of the year, everybody's kind of caught up with them. It's just kind of the way it is. And but this is obviously a very, very good team right here, Indiana. Now, the guy that you obviously need to know most about is Trayce Jackson. Trayce Jackson is one of the best bigs in the country. There really isn't anybody on Arizona that can check him one-on-one. He's going to be able to get his, but this team also I think that Arizona is a little bit better team than them, to be honest with you. I think when I look at this squad, I think to myself that, all right, Arizona should be able, again, Arizona could certainly lose this game, but I also think that they should win this game. They lost to Rutgers. They don't shoot the ball well. So again, generally teams that are going to beat Arizona probably don't, generally shoot the ball pretty well. I would say that this team athletically is probably comparable to Arizona. I think Arizona might have a few better pieces, but I like Arizona's chances in this game as long as they don't shoot 30% from the field. If they shoot 30% from the field, well, then we're going to be sitting here talking about something totally different. Now, when it comes to this game, I do think this is going to be a very nice test for Arizona, and it will solve some issues here. If Arizona beats Indiana and looks convincing in the process, then I think that you could probably say to yourself, all right, well, this was Arizona's performance against Utah was a little bit of a one-off. Whatever the case may be, you could certainly make that argument. And that Cal, obviously, they just didn't show up. But if Arizona were to beat Indiana, you'd have wins over Creighton, San Diego State, and Indiana. Those are all big-time wins right there. But again, it's going to be kind of a test. Now, both these programs, Arizona and Indiana, have beaten good teams so far this year. So it's not like you look at them and say, well, they're just not very good, whatever the case may be. All these teams have, both these programs have a lot going for them right there. They're both clearly good teams. But, there are some interesting situations, though, that are going on basically with this entire squad. We'll find out. Can Pelle Larsson make a little bit of that next step right there? He so far, he just hadn't played very well. And I think there were a lot of expectations for him. He just hasn't really been that guy so far. So we'll find out there. But there's a lot to like as well. So now, let me tell you about the BetOnline Sportsbook. BetOnline Sportsbook is it's been around forever, and there's a reason that it has been around forever. It's because it's easy to use, and you can get on there. And again, let me throw the overlay on there as well. You can go on there. You can find odds, news, scores, you name it. The BetOnline Sportsbook has you covered. And again, that's what they're there for. Again, I said from the beginning that I said, when Arizona plays, when Arizona football plays this year, take the over 2.5. It's I'm not going to say it's a lock, but it's a pretty good, I got a pretty good feel on that one. And guess what? It turned out to be true. If you had been on the BetOnline Sportsbook app, you would have been able to take care of that one as well. So again, check it out. BetOnline Sportsbook app. Lots of good stuff going on right there. All right, now we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be right back with you. And we're going to talk about what a win for Arizona would mean. Thanks for keeping it locked on, Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now got a lot to get to here. We're going to talk about what a win would mean. If Arizona were to beat Indiana, you would have 3 really, really good wins going into conference play, and you still have Tennessee coming to McHale, which obviously is no small task for Arizona. But Arizona would be in a very advantageous spot right there. Okay. And you're probably looking, because when you're a school like Arizona, you're always looking ahead, and I'm looking for my water. You're always looking ahead to see where that next game is, where that next team is that that you can beat to put yourself in favorably in the NCAA tournament. And that takes time from time to time. So we'll find that out. But Arizona would have a very good out of conference schedule, and you kind of play that Tennessee game. Granted, you never want to have a team go into McHale and beat you, but Arizona would be playing with a little bit of house money right there when if that all came to fruition. So we'll find out right there. But I do think though that Arizona right now is a little bit better than Indiana. But again, it's going to have to come down to the peaks. Now, I just said Trayce Jackson. There's nobody on Arizona that can guard him. That's correct. But Omaha Ballo and Julius Tubelis, they've got to bring their A games in this game. They've got to be out there, and they've got to put up that 40 and 20 that we've been talking about pretty much all season. That you've got to, every time Arizona goes out there, you need to be able to exert your dominance, which Arizona's dominance is up front. Arizona, and that's just what they, do. Arizona should be able to dominate up front, and I think that Arizona will be able to dominate up front. So again, we'll find that out. But again, I feel pretty good about Arizona's opportunity to win right here. So again, we'll find out. Now, looking around the rest of the conference, I don't really see anybody that can beat Arizona consistently. Now, again, there's always one-offs. There's always teams that can beat Arizona. I just don't look at this team and say that there's going to be a team that will beat Arizona or that is better. Now, it wouldn't surprise me at all if some teams win. Totally get that. That stuff happens. But I don't feel that there's any team better than Arizona. And in hindsight, they probably should have been listed as the preseason favorite. I don't really know that there's any doubt about that at this point. Okay, now we're going to take a quick little break, a little bit of a shorter pod today, having a few issues here, but we'll be right back with you. Thanks for keeping it locked on, Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now you look at UCLA. And we're going to keep talking about matchups pretty much all season. But you look at UCLA, the one thing that UCLA certainly has going for them is that you have Jaime Jaquez, you have Tiger Campbell, you've got some pretty good pieces right there. But there's also, you watch this, you look at this team, and there really isn't anything that Arizona should be scared of. Now, conversely, for UCLA, there are things about Arizona that they should be a little bit concerned about, and that's defending Arizona down low. I don't know how they're going to do that, to be quite frank with you, because I just don't think that they have the athletes. I don't think that they have the size. I get you got Bona, but outside of Bona, who do you really have? And that's, I think, going to be a little bit of the problem here for Arizona. So again, for UCLA, because while I like Jalen Clark is significantly undersized against any of the U of A big men that you throw out there. And, I'm not really breaking any ground on that one. This would be but on the perimeter, UCLA is a little bit better between Tiger Campbell, between Amari Bailey. If you want to consider Hawk as a perimeter player, Singleton, they just got a few more horses right there, and they've been better. So again, those are some of the issues that come into play right here when you are dealing with UCLA. Oregon, who knows? Everybody on that team is injured. They've looked terrible for most of the season. And maybe this lineup just isn't just really that good. So we'll, don't really know what else to say right there. The rest of the conference, I know Utah beat Arizona, but I expect Arizona to smash Utah the next time they play them. That would not surprise me in the least. I think that's certainly something that you're going to see. I would not be surprised by that. But again, I'm going to sign off a little bit early today. Again, having a few issues here, but you guys all have a great weekend. Go Cats, and